How is it going, YouTube? Well, I can say we're going to be talking about what class to pick in Grim Dawn. This is sort of like an update that I'm coming up with because I've made this video several years back. I don't necessarily like it anymore. I don't necessarily think that I was so direct in that video, and at the same time, I think I was just like too much blabbering. I wasn't necessarily on to the point. So on top of this, though, we are also going to be talking about what are the better characters to pick when you're starting fresh into the Grim Dawn also. And I'll also talk about like the characters that I have played when I was starting fresh on my Grim Dawn. I've resetted my account several times, and on top of that, I've also done some fresh starts for YouTube as well. So I have that experience too. So this being said, I do still stand by on like what I have said like several years back, that what class to pick Grim Dawn video. What I was trying to say in that video is that like you don't necessarily have, like, even though there are so many masteries to combine in this game, you don't necessarily have that many options as long as you play your style. And there's something that is going on in Grim Dawn, the fact that like the first character, no matter how experienced you are in this game, since you have nothing in the stash, and since you have, you know, no legendaries that you're building up to in the late game, and since you have, like, let's say no experience potions, no components, nothing, so you're absolutely fresh account, the first character that you're going to be playing, no matter the experience that you have of Grim Dawn, is going to be the most difficult character, and it's most likely going to be the most underwhelming character as well, because the next character that you're going to create is most likely going to have some stuff that is waiting for him, most likely going to have some like reputation stuff, you know what I mean, at the very least. So it's going to be much easier to play that guy, and it will most likely have like a, you know, weapon, or maybe some recipes that is waiting for him to use. You get my point. So therefore, playing your style is probably like the better thing that you can do. That was what I was trying to say. And if your style is a summoner, there you go. You don't necessarily have that many options to select from in the masteries. So that was the message of that video. So if you wanted to play like a two-hander fire guy, then right now in the game, probably the stuff that are like supporting fire extremely good is like Demo, Oathkeeper, right? It's a bit of like Inquisitor maybe. You can put on top of this maybe a couple more, even something like an Occultist because of the elemental minus resistance. But you're kind of like, as long as like you select your style and what you want to do with the character, you kind of have that big list of the mastery choices, you know, shrinking a little bit. So I would definitely like suggest you to check out the Grim Tools, which is the build calculator of this game, and over there you can actually like, you know, see what the masteries are trying to do and then try to go from there. So that was kind of the message that I wanted to give in that video back in the day. I really hope that this is a little bit more clear over here. So feel free to like, on the comment section, feel free to like, if you're jumping into Grim Dawn for the first time, tell your style. Maybe even I'll be able to like answer you and tell you like, you know, maybe check out this build. On top of this, we're going to be talking about some of the builds in Grim Dawn that are like absolutely better than the others when it comes to like opening a character for the first time. The reasoning is because, for instance, the DeathKnight is the no-brainer pick, usually. Simply because it has a set that is building up to, and this set is farmable even in the middle difficulty. So if you look over here, there's the normal, and normal has the option to play on veteran as well. And then there's the elite, so veteran is gone now. And then there's the ultimate. And ultimate is where stuff are actually starting to become a little bit harder. When you get used to the game, when you're good at the game. Trust me when I say this, normal and elite doesn't necessarily matter so much. It's not going to be a challenge when you know what you're doing with your character, with the components, you know, with the playstyle, with the monsters, with the, you know, telegraphs and their, you know, what they have to offer, obviously. So if you know what is coming your way, you will be able to avoid it. But in Ultimate, the damage numbers are a little bit like more off the charts, so that like you will have to be ready, and therefore the DeathKnight, the set that you're going for with the Aether, Craig's DeathKnight, is actually farmable in Elite. That is like the best part about that thing. So since you're already in the easier content, before jumping into the harder one, you're actually getting the level 94 legendaries, the mythical legendaries, and it's a full set, and it's a ridiculously powerful set, obviously. And then you jump into the ultimate and everything. I just muted myself while making the video. That's interesting. So you don't necessarily have to worry about, like, you know, completely RNG legendary drops and forming a set for yourself. So you have, like, you know, 5 pieces of your entire gear covered, maybe even 6 if you go for like a shield and a weapon MI. So that is why DeathKnight is like the blind pick. It's a very strong one. In my YouTube, if you would like to check it out, there's like an entire playthrough. I'll also be giving the build down below in the comment section as well. Now on top of this is like a shield guy, it's like a melee guy, you know, sword and board type of thing. It is not the most fun character to play, hands down. If you wouldn't like to play something like this, and if you would like to be on the caster side of things, there's actually something that I played very recently, and it turned out to be incredibly good. This guy right over here. It is, again, for a fresh account. It's a Cabalist. You can actually like play this in other fashion as well. How I played it was I just completely went Vitality caster build, from Skeletons into Ravenous Earth caster, and it is also building up to the Dark One set. We could actually like jump into the game and check the sets if you would like to. But that being said, now there's a massive difference between this character, even though it has a reliably farmable set, just like the Aether DK. The difference is that, like, this set is dropping from a very hard location. It starts dropping from the Lokar cave in ultimate difficulty. That is the worst part about it. And you need to build up all the way into Malmoth. So not only you need to finish the normal, you know, vanilla content, but at the same time you need to build up all the way up to Malmoth. And on top of that, the cave is extremely rippy as well. I've actually like managed to do this character straight up with no deaths and straight up without farming all that much. Like, I have only hit places only once. I didn't necessarily, you know, I've ran one, like, let's say one cave, and I was like, okay, we ran this, let's do it one more time, you know, maybe we're gonna have like better drops. I didn't do this at all, other than like, you know, farming for the MI, and you're gonna most likely farm for MIs like on every single character that you make, especially if it's a first guy. I should also like open some parentheses. What's an MI? It's a monster infrequent, and that only means that, like, you know, this type of weapon drops from that specific monster or monster type. So this weapon would be their MI then in that case. So you wouldn't be able to get a bone spike out of, you know, randomly out of like zombies and then, you know, some beasts. No, it just drops from one single, either one single guy or just an entire species, let's say. That would make it an MI. So there are lots of MIs in this game. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is green either. There are some legendary MIs as well that are very unique. But back to the point, Dark One set over here is an Acid Vitality caster guy. I tried to focus a little bit more on the Vitality side of things in this character. You can see the entire playthrough, and I mean it. Everything is on YouTube. Part by part. I think it's about like 20 parts, this one. This one's a lot more recent, because it's in Forgotten Gods. The DeathKnight that I have made was actually on Ashes of Malmoth, obviously. So it is, you know, my old playthroughs, basically. I would say I did a better job with this guy, both with like explaining things and my playthrough, and also like the build up and the theory crafting was a little bit better in my opinion. So which one would turn out better? I think this character turned out stronger than the DeathKnight, but this character struggled a lot more. And back to the point, why is that? Is because like the DeathKnight gets stronger at the end of Elite if you put the farm, if you find the set pieces, and this guy gets stronger when you actually like manage to complete the set. And that set only comes in ultimate difficulty, almost at the end of Malmoth. That is a very long way, so you will have the struggle till there. But once you have those pieces going for you, and you have like somewhat okayish gear on the other pieces, and you have a good build going on, which I'll be sharing in the description below, from that moment it's actually skyrockets, and it's an incredibly strong character. If you'd like to see the playthrough, just check my channel. As I said, it's called, I think, Vitality Caster Cabalist. So on top of this, these are not necessarily the characters that I play when I reset my account. Because these are, I always try to do something a little bit more unique. And we can go to my spreadsheet. The spreadsheet link is down below as well. You can find, on the bottom part, you can find the tabs. even Path of Exile builds that are coming up. I started playing Path of Exile just now. But yeah, apart from that, you can even like find on the other tabs, you can even find like my first builds that are like not necessarily greatest, most likely, and then my second playthrough, and now I've done the entire third playthrough as well. So you can definitely like find every single character that I have played. And it goes, you know, chronologically as well. I think I've said it right, I'm not sure, sorry. So the Spellbreaker was in fact my first character, so the Spellbreaker didn't get supported by like any legendaries at all. And then obviously like later on I did shape it up to be full legendary later on. But Spellbreaker, for instance, the one that I played it with like a Trozen Skyshard caster. This is like cold caster, it's incredibly fun to play, but this is extremely difficult, especially if you compare it to like DeathKnight and the Cabalist caster that I've said, because you don't have a legendary set, a complete set that you're building up to. But what do you have? So my point was over here was this, and this mace alone is an MI, and it's capable of like converting the entire damage of Trozen Skyshard into lightning, into cold. If you read it, the last part, it says 100% of the lightning damage converted to cold. So therefore a Spellbreaker combination, an Arcanist, and Iceblade is just supporting the cold in a very good way. And lots of minus resistance as well thanks to the Nightblade, and it's just an aura around you, it's very easy to like utilize too. So the entire damage that I deal was cold, and in Grim Dawn it's usually a lot easier to play, a lot easier to like build a character and make a character extremely stronger if you focus on one damage type. That damage type also can have like a corresponding damage over time as well. So what would that be? A cold would have Frostburn, a fire would have burn, you know, physical would have trauma. So that said, this guy was trying to do basically like flash freeze, it was trying to do Trozen Skyshard, but let me warn you, this is not necessarily the easiest character to play and to build up to, because as I said, like in ultimate difficulty, it's a squishy character. It has lots of buttons to worry about. It cannot necessarily stand in melee range. Don't look at these stats. The stats are like completely skewed. This character right now, as it is incredibly strong, in fact. But you're not going to be like that when you're building it the first time. That is the same point once and again and again and again why DeathKnight and the Vitator Cabalist, they are like, you know, the no-brainer picks when it comes to like creating a first character in this game. But yeah, those were not the ones that I have gone with actually for my own account when I resetted it. So it is definitely possible to like play it your way, your style. If you would like to play a summoner, feel free to play the summoner. What that just means is that like comparison to the Aether Craig DK, you will be having a lot more struggle, but that's just fine and it's definitely doable. But if you're really wondering like what is the best, you know, I think we have got that covered. Another character that I have made when just wanted to show you the animation of the Trozen Skyshard. So you're basically like every other second dropping some Skyshards with cold damage, and they're hitting out of their minds, and they're capable of like shotgunning as well. What that means is that like if you manage to hit every single meteor on top of the target, it's going to be taking, you know, 5 times the damage. The last character that I'm going to mention is going to be a Shieldbreaker, in fact. This Shieldbreaker, the second guy, this was somewhat of a, you know, fresh start as well. Right now it's obviously like full legendaries. But what I'm going to do is that like I'll build up the database over here. And I'm going to show you what sort of Shieldbreaker that you can do if you would like to. So if you would like to play some sort of like an Oathkeeper, a fire guy, and if you would like to play some sort of like a shield throw, an Aegis of Menhir, you definitely could as a first character as well. Simply because like this Blaze Heart over here is a very good weapon, and it's literally a quest reward. You just need to do the dialect quest that is starting from Homestead, and it ends up in Morndale in Ashes of Malmoth. So you do need the DLC. Obviously, I mean, if you're capable of playing a Shieldbreaker, I suppose you have it. That was not needed, but. And then you're gonna need a shield, because there's a shield that is capable of like completely converting the damage of Aegis into fire, which is something that you will need. So this is the shield, and this shield is, you know, literally purchasable in the Steel Cap District, I think. So if you read this, it says like 100% physical damage converted to fire damage. Again, so instead of like focusing on both fire and physical, now thanks to the shield, and it's purchasable, it's any level in fact, you're full fire. So it is much easier for you to just like focus on fire and burn, which is the, you know, corresponding damage over time of fire. And then there you go. You're going to have like a really, really strong weapon. You're going to have like a extremely good shield if you would like to. And I'll also like give you a tip about this as well. You can log into the game to find the shield. And go to the Steel Cap District right over here. And this guy right over here is gonna sell the shield for you. That's it. This is how easy it is. And every single time that you're coming here, it's going to have different stats as well. So this shield right over here is actually not so bad. The protection one, suffix. It's giving you about like 22% physical resistance. And you can try to have something that is like having a lot more fire damage as well. So you can like keep resetting your game and try to find a better one from this guy. And therefore you will have a very good weapon and you will have a very good shield and you can play the shield throw. I'm going to be including this link in the description down below as well. Now I really hope you find this video useful. If you did, make sure to drop a like. And I do a lot of ARPG content, some RPG content as well, both on YouTube and Twitch. I stream daily. If you'd like to check me out, it's twitch.tv/Malagant. And feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. Peace out, dudes. Thanks for watching.